Scherzer throws the same amount of pitches that he did last season of 2,281, he'll make $15,360.98 per pitch next season with the Mets. Combsy, cue that intro.
Are you ready for the best damn sports radio show on the planet? Man Hour Nation, rise up.
I would like to personally welcome you to Man Hour After Dark. Say that thing. While I bring you the host, Mike, Buck, and Cone. You know who's coming to the stage. Sports talk than what you about to hear right here. I second that.
Go. You know that it's us when we talking about sports. Giving you facts on the field to the core. Tune in, we need the support. 1 hour too short, then listen some more. On all your stations, not dropping no music. Stripes like Adidas, but Nike just do it. Down 4 in the 4th, we go for the win. Michael 2 seconds, we taking it in. Buck, Mike, and Combs, you know what's going on. Man, now we're After Dark, no LA, we the big spark. No 4th and inches, won't cut short. Got the best talking, it's all sports. Buzzing more than buzzer beaters. We coming live all through your speakers, go.
And what is up, Man Hour Nation? Michael Buckhouse here with the Man Hour. Be sure to head over to manhourradio.com and check out the merchandise page. And, of course, check out the pod section as well. You guys are listening to the number 4 ranked sports podcast in all of America per Good Pods. We would like to be number 1, so head over to goodpods.com. Actually, just Good Pod, the app. Give us a ranking on each episode. Get us to number 1, guys. It's that easy. Get us to number 1. Help myself and Combsy do this full time. Hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button. Combs, we got Wayne G on tonight. That's debatable. We got some spilled soup. And, of course, we're going to talk some Antonio Brown. But first, Combs, what is up, man? What is up? What is up? What is up?
Man, it's been a day. Look, before we get started, I gotta give a quick shout out to my son Ryan, who turned 6 today.
Yes, sir.
So happy birthday, buddy! If you're listening, happy birthday. Daddy loves you. I just got to watch him open his gifts before the show, so it's pretty cool. The kid's growing up so damn fast, man. Time flies.
Yeah. 100%. Well, so what is great about that, Combs, is you were able to actually get to see him, open up gifts, or do the cake and like all that stuff. Like back in the day, You wouldn't be able to. Like you would have had to flying out to New Hampshire or Vermont for a 2-hour trip, right? I mean, just it would have been a long day. What's up, Alpha Rob? We see you there in the chat, big guy. But Combs, we had an interview last week, 2 weeks ago, with a guy, with a major league pitcher by the name of RC, and we've been talking with him behind the scenes a lot here the last couple of days. He'll be on hopefully sometime next week to give us some insider information about what is happening with Major League Baseball. But Combs, tell the people right now what is happening with Major League Baseball. Are we going to have a season or what?
So, look, this is the first lockout. I guess they determine lockouts and strikes differently. So first lockout really since 1990, but this is the first time since 1994 that I can remember that I feel like we may lose some games here. And that's not good for baseball. I know the MLBPA is saying that this is all the owner's choice. They're trying to pressure players into relinquishing rights and benefits. And look, it's time for the owners and the players to just figure this whole thing out, hash it out, and get it done. Because look, the game is bigger than any one person or any one party that is involved in this. And there are some things like I feel, all these signings we've had over the last week, Buck.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of interesting that one of the arguments for the players is that the owners of small market teams don't spend money, right?
Yeah.
Now, all of a sudden, over the last week, every team that's made these signings, if you look at it, has been a non-playoff team last year.
Makes sense. Right?
It kind of seems like a smokescreen, though, don't it? Like maybe the owners are like, oh, see, look, we spend money right before the collective bargaining agreement comes up. You know what I mean? Like, it just seems like it was one of those chips. I don't know that that's what it was. I mean, look, there were some good signings. Hell, my Cubs, picked up Marcus Stroman last night. Javier Baez going to Detroit. The Texas Rangers spent $500 million on 2 players earlier this week. So there's a lot of money being spent. These teams, we talk about it at length. And I've heard, I've seen in our chat, when we've talked baseball and they talk, oh, the players are overpaid and this and that. The players, if you look at the amount of money that comes into each team, the players are actually underpaid. If you go by the amount of revenue that they generate, because I'm telling you right now, but look, I've been to countless baseball games. I've been to every stadium in the league with the exception of 5. Okay. I've never once, not once out of all the games I've been to, never once have I ever gone into a stadium and seen somebody wearing the owner's name on the back of a jersey. Never once have I ever seen the GM's name on the back of a jersey.
Well, that's for any sport, though.
They're not there to see the owner. Exactly. But they're not there to see the owner. They're not there to see the players.
But the owner and GM bring those players in, though.
But the amount of money that they generate for what they're played. I'm not saying we need to pay. I'm not saying that, hey, you got to go crazy, give these guys, $600 million, for 5 years or anything. I'm just saying the argument that they're overpaid is kind of laughable to me.
So
I would like to see, I don't care about a cap. If you want to put a cap on it, that's fine. I want to see a floor. I want to see these owners that aren't spending money, the Pittsburgh Pirates, the Miami Marlins, there's other ones out there that I can't think of off the top of my head.
Royals.
The Royals, the Royals just won a World Series not too long ago. But you want to see those teams forced to spend money instead of just taking in the revenue sharing and just, raking in the $3 billion, but only putting $41 million back into the team. It's a joke. And so there's a lot of things going on. There are some things that the players want. There's some things the players don't want. There's some things that the owners want. It's going to be a little bit of give and take. And this time I think the players are going to win it. I think the players are going to stand their ground, and I think ultimately the players are going to win. Whether or not we're going to lose games, though, Buck, like you asked, I hope not. I don't see this being like only a 2 or 3 week thing. This is probably going to be something that carries us into February. And if it gets past February, we're in trouble. So I'm going to be watching it closely for sure. I'm going to be interested as to what's going on. I'll be in with all the nuances. I can't wait to talk to RC next week and get a player's perspective as to what's going on and where they need to be from. We had an interesting conversation with him, off record. So there are some things like him and I see eye to eye on a lot of stuff. So it's going to make for a great conversation next week when we have him on. But I don't know what's going to happen with MLB. I don't know what's going to happen with this strike. I don't know how long it's going to last, or this lockout, I should say. This is definitely something, though, that's on the owners. Look, there are what you could have given the players versus what you're asking for are two different things. And the players and owners need to just figure this out. And the players themselves, I did see there was another player. I saw the tweet. I can't remember what player it was, but he said maybe instead of going for everything in this collective bargaining agreement, we give them a little bit of what they want, but we give them like 4 or 5 things we want. And then in the next CBA, we get 4 more 5 things that we want. And then so let's do this over time so that we can get this thing signed and get back to work. And I wholeheartedly agree with that statement. Wholeheartedly. This isn't something where each side needs to get everything that they want at the same time. Get it gradually over time. Sign the CBA for the next 4 or 5 years, and then in 4 or 5 years, ask for a couple of more different things that you want. Some things that I would love to see that the owners are asking for that I think are great is the DH in the National League. Some players don't want that. The other thing that the owners want that I would love to see is the new playoffs that they want. They want to have 7 teams from each league in the playoffs. The first place teams in each league with the best records get the first round bye. And then the other leagues, like we saw, the other division winners, like we saw this past year, get to pick their wild card opponent. So if you've got the second best record, no, you don't get the first round bye, but you get to pick who you're playing in the next round. I like that for 2 reasons. One, it adds an element of excitement, right? Because if I'm the 6th place team and all of a sudden the second place team is like, hey, I want them. I'm like, oh, okay. You want me? All right, cool. Let's go then. And I think that adds an element of of excitement to that. They're also talking about the higher seed gets to host all 3 games in the wild card series, making it a 3-game series instead of a 1-game play-in. I like those things. The players rejected that idea though, and I don't understand why. Some things that the players want that the owners are rejecting is like the salary floor, for trying to force owners to pay more money. I completely agree with that. I get where the owners don't want to do it because look, rich people don't like spending money. You know what I mean? We've got millionaires who make $10 billion a year, but want to complain about the taxes. So instead of 10 billion, they'll make 7 billion, 500, and because they have to pay taxes. Like it drives me nuts. That's what rich people do. But that's how they stay rich, right? That's why you and me are sitting in our basements or you in your garage talking on a microphone into YouTube, is because we actually like to spend our money and pay our taxes. Rich people like to hold on to all their money and not pay any taxes. So that's where the owners are at. I'm hopeful that this thing is done by middle of January. I definitely would expect it. If anybody's expecting this to be done before the Christmas is up, I don't see that at all.
Yeah, so we will definitely dive deeper into that next week when we actually do have a player on here to actually speak of like how it is going to happen. But let's get into some football talk here. And one of the biggest stories that just came out here in the last hour, maybe 2, Combs, it was Antonio Brown, and he has officially been suspended for 3 games for that fake COVID vaccine card. So if you guys remember correctly, here about 2 weeks ago, in the middle of his injury, one of his maids or cooks or something said that Antonio Brown had a fake COVID card. He never really said one thing or the other. He kind of just let it go about his thing. But the NFL did his due diligence and found out that Antonio Brown, Mike Edwards, and John Franklin III, all from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, do in fact they falsified their COVID vaccine cards. So Combs, when you hear something like this, we heard it when this first came out, that this is a federal crime. If you falsify some type of federal CDC card, it is a federal crime. So with all that being said, what is next for Antonio Brown? First thing, thank you, Trent, for that $10. We love the show. We love having you here too, man. We absolutely love everything that you do for us. So, Combs, do you think Antonio Brown, Mike Edwards, and John Franklin III should be going to federal prison for this?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Trent Mason, for that $9.99 super chat there. That was awesome. Look, part of me wants to say I hope so. I mean, look, I never like seeing when athletes get away with something just because they're athletes, right? Because if you or I do this, we're probably looking at doing some time, right? If we get caught or if the wrong person hears about it. We could talk about this. We'd probably get kicked off of YouTube. Yeah, look, we feel a certain way about it, right? Like some people believe in it, some people don't. Some people think that they don't need the shot. Some people believe wholeheartedly that they need the shot. Some people believe in the numbers. Some people don't. I don't know how to take this. I can tell you how I feel about the situation.
Say it.
I give 2 craps.
Exactly.
I give 2 craps. Who cares? So what? So what? He falsified the card. Who cares? All right. He's suspended for 3 games now. Cool. All right. Sweet. See you in January. Like who cares? I don't care. I don't even care if somebody that I work with tells me that they're vaccinated and they come to work. I don't care if they are or they aren't vaccinated. When I go into the shop, I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. It's none of my business. Who cares?
Yeah,
just stop. Everybody's got their right to their privacy. Everybody's got their right to choose what they want to do with their bodies.
Right.
I saw something earlier today that says, you tell me how something that is, made by companies who get caught all the time for doing, corrupt, illegal stuff with being the pharmaceutical companies. How is it morally and intelligently and something else? How can you give me an answer of why I have to take this when it's not even proven to stop transmission. It doesn't stop you from getting it. So how can you tell somebody, hey, you have to get this? Why? For what? So now I have to get it, but I could still catch it.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't care. If you don't get it, you don't get it. If you get it, you get it. I don't care. I've got it. I got vaccinated.
Me too.
Now everybody's like, oh, now you got to get a booster shot. Yeah, cool. And then, this new variant. Yeah, cool. Because you know what? Here's the way it goes, Buck. In this country right now, either everybody stays home for a full month and we destroy our economy, or we deal with it as it comes. We deal with the new strains as they come, just like we do with the flu, which kills 30,000 people a year, just like we do with all that stuff. And we take it as it comes. And if you get it, you get it, and you get sick, and some people are going to die from it. It's the way of the world. Like, that's why it drives me nuts. So this topic here, I don't. There's no way to get into it without getting into the politics of it, without getting into the stuff that YouTube and Facebook want to kick us off for. There's no way to do all that without getting into it. So I just don't. I could give two shits. I don't care.
Yeah, which is funny because about a month ago we were getting kicked off the air for saying the word COVID, and now we can say it and put it in titles. And they're like, oh yay, prompted, right? But nonetheless,
yeah.
But with the whole Antonio Brown
let's go, Brandon.
fake vaccine thing is, for one, why do you want to fake a vaccine? Like it doesn't make any sense to me of like why he morally wanted to say, you know what, like, I'm going to give you guys a fake vaccine card just because, like, I don't want to get the vaccine. There are players out there that don't have the vaccine. Aaron Rodgers, Carson Wentz, Amari Cooper, right? There are names out there, and Amari Cooper just got back from 2 games off with the COVID, I think it was. I mean, like, I don't understand, like, what is the big deal? Like, what is the infatuation of getting this fake COVID card? It doesn't make any sense to me. But I mean, so the wording that they put in this press release wasn't say that he obtained a fake vaccine card. It was that he gave the NFL false information. So when they said that they gave the NFL false information, obviously the NFL is covering up for this federal crime that he committed. Him, Mike Edwards, and John Franklin III, all from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I don't want to leave those two guys out. But excuse me. The biggest thing that comes to mind is, like, what does he have to gain from giving you a fake vaccine card? I mean, he's already missed 6 games with a sprained ankle. What is missing 1 game with COVID? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, right? I mean, you're still going to go to this Super Bowl. You're still going to probably win a Super Bowl. You're still going to get your catches and your money and all that crap. What is the big deal?
I don't know. I mean, look, it's funny that it's a federal crime if you lie about, if you falsify information regarding your COVID vaccine or whatnot. What's funny is that they don't put in there that it's a federal crime if the hospitals are falsifying numbers. True. They don't say anything about that though. But it's so the whole thing again. Like, you can get into it. People believe what they want to believe, and I'm fine with whatever you believe. Like, I truly, honestly, I promise you that I am fine with no matter who you are, no matter what you believe in, no matter what your thoughts are. If you're genuine to me, I'm genuine to you. So I could care less. Antonio Brown has no effect on how I'm going to live my everyday life. For the next 3 days or for the next 3 weeks, he's not in fantasy football lineups. That's all I see.
He wasn't in mine ain't mine anyways. But
he wasn't in mine either, but that's what I'm saying. I hope he's in the guys that I was playing against, because hopefully he's got to sit somebody and try to find somebody on the waiver wire.
Right.
That's all I care about. Like, I don't care about the info. I don't care about the card. I don't, like, so what? It's stupid.
Yeah.
Like, I can't wait until all this crap is past us, which probably won't be till like 2035.
No, it will never go away. It'll be a seasonal thing, just like the flu. But with that being said, before we head to our next break and bring on Wayne G here for That's Debatable, Trent says, I am surprised this passed Tom Brady's spider senses. Because isn't Antonio Brown and Tom Brady living in the same house? Like, they're banging the same girl? Like, how did this pass Tom Brady? Like, well, why didn't it Mr. O? Because Tom Brady's a cheater, right? Too. Is that too soon?
I'm not going there.
You're not going there.
That's Tom Brady, man.
All right, guys, we are going to go. We're up against our first break here on the night. We have Wayne G from Infinity Sports and Recast 2.0 coming up here with That's Debatable, guys. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the break here. When we go to break, guys, let me ask you guys this question to ponder some thoughts during the break here. Who wins tonight's game, Saints or the Cowboys? I'm taking the Cowboys right here. Cowboys, one love, baby. Micah Parsons, Rookie of the Year. We'll be back.
Now you're a Cowboys fan.
And welcome back to the Man Era, guys. Michael Buckeyes along with Brandon Beastie Combs and I. Be sure to get your guys' Beastie merch. They're in this description below. Click on it. And it'll also have the Takeaway 22 shirts as well. As all proceeds from the Takeaway 22 shirts and hoodies go to a nonprofit motorcycle organization to help Army people with PTSD, feeding them, taking them to and from appointments, and all that good stuff. So we'll get a better ad for you guys here coming up during the breaks to let you guys know. Brandon has been assigned the cast to write that script, so we'll see how that works out. So Combsy, get your writing skills, big guy. We need them. But we have to welcome one guy that makes you scratch your head and say, man, is that really debatable or just Wayne G's just crazy? Wayne G, welcome to the show. What's going on, buddy? Yeah, every Thursday, guys, here at 8:30 East Coast time. On Thursday edition, Wayne G is here. He is from Infinity Sports Podcast and, of course, Recast 2.0. Before we get too carried away into this week's segment, Wayne, let the people know who and what you're all about, big guy.
And I have my podcast, Recasted 2.0. What we do is we take movies that are at least 20 years old, and we recast them in 2021 with modern cast. Then we put the cast out there for a vote. And Brandon has been going up against, or he's been voting for his former adversary in Jesse quite a bit, even though my casts are much better.
He's destroying you. He's been destroying you. Look, when you've got a cast that includes Charlie Hunnam, though, I mean, like that dude's a phenomenal actor. And then, he gets me every time because he always uses Megan Fox, and I can't go against Megan Fox. The only thing I want to do with Megan Fox is, can't talk about that on air.
Well, you're referencing our last podcast. We just recasted Heat from 1995. And to give you an idea of why I should just be dominating, but I'm not for some reason, is the top two, which really, if you've watched the movie Heat, you know it's about Pacino and De Niro, and nobody else is really in that cast that matters because they don't spend any time on anyone for the full 4 hours of the movie, which feels like 20 hours. And so basically all that matters is your first two, Pacino and De Niro, who I recasted Johnny Depp in the De Niro role and Will Smith in the Pacino role as the cop trying to catch him. I thought, perfect, right? Well, Jesse goes with Javier Bardem, who, by the way, I love Javier Bardem, and I'll see anything he's in, as the De Niro role. And then he goes with, I think it was Pedro Pascal, or as the Pacino role. I'm like, oh, man, I'm going to crush this guy. But I'm not.
I like both of those casts. I thought they were both very good. Both of them, with either one of those casts, I would have watched either one of those movies. That both of them would have been must see. He won me over with a couple of the actors that he has on there that I really like. And then what was the actress that he had on there? There was no way I will watch anything she is in naked.
So I don't know if that was Isa Gonzalez, who was supposed to be the Ashley Judd character.
Yes. Yes.
I thought Wayne G won last week was simple, just putting Will Smith in there. Anything that Will Smith's in seems to be gold to like me. So.
Yeah, Will Smith and The Rock, you get kind of a lot of personality, but whatever it is what it is. I'll win one eventually.
Yeah, but if you cast a movie with The Rock, you got to drive up sideways up a building and have him hanging on with one finger, and that's the only way you get.
The Rock has a lot of good movies, like the Walking Tall,
like the Tooth Fairy.
The Tooth Fairy was good. How about the movie that like he was in when he was a quarterback? What's that? The Game Plan? Like that was good too.
Yeah.
I mean.
He's been in some bad stuff. He's been in some bad stuff. He's been in some good stuff. He's Walking Tall is phenomenal. That's a great movie.
Yeah, Walking Tall was a good movie.
All right, well, let's get into the first topic of tonight, Wayne. What do you got for us?
All right, so this is something that really rubs me the wrong way, and that is, we just saw a video came out of Joe Johnson kind of going up against some guys at a YMCA, and he was, knocking down 3-pointers, dunking on them, driving the lane, posting up on these guys. And people start saying, like, hey, give this guy a 10-day contract or something like that. And the same thing happened when Isaiah Thomas dropped 80 points in a men's league game, and people are like, hey, this guy should be an all-star. And I'm like, dude, they're NBA players playing against YMCA 40-year-old dads. Like, they should be scoring 80 points. Like, what is all the hubbub?
Hey, look, I'm a 40-year-old dad, and I will lock down Isaiah Thomas.
You will not. You will run at the court one time, Combs, and be pulling a hamstring. Oh, give me my inhaler.
If I make it up the court one time, I'd be impressed. Yeah. Even if I do pull a hamstring.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, so unless you've played against professional basketball players, which I have, right, you don't really understand how good these guys are. I mean, they are gods, literal gods of whatever sport they're in, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, right? They are gods, and we're just peons. And so when you see a guy drop 80 points, he was actually probably taking it easy. I mean, Isaiah Thomas is a guy who's been out of the league for 4 years or 3 years, something like that. That's the type of guy that's going to score 80. If you put, I don't care who you put in there. I don't even want to say John Morant. I'm saying put like a bench player in there. They're going to score 100.
Yeah. And that was, I see it all the time. People are always like, oh, that guy's terrible at this sport. That guy, well, no, he's really not. It's people that could never play the sport in their life talking about other people and how they're terrible. My favorite thing was, I forget who it was. It was one of the Angels players. He was a bench player, and he came off the bench, and there was a video of a guy heckling him. And he goes, you know what's funny? He says to the fan, he goes, I'm closer to Mike Trout than you are to me. So you just sit there and keep talking. And to me, that's like the best comeback, right? Because he is closer to being the best player in the game than you will ever be to even being a bench player on any team. So to me, that was the best comeback. I love watching some of the fan interactions with some of the players. Joey Votto had a great one. They said, Joey, I remember when you used to be good. And Joey came back. He said, I remember when you used to be thin. Just like stuff like that. It kills me. But no, it's when you get guys coming in. I saw a video of Vlad Guerrero the other day playing in a men's softball league, and everybody's oohing and on about the home run that he hit. And it's like, This guy hits bombs in major league stadiums. What did you think he was going to do on a 180-foot fence field in freaking Dominican Republic? Like, no kidding, he hit a bomb of a home run. He hits bombs in major league stadiums off of freaking pitchers who are throwing 90 miles an hour. You threw him a 12-inch ball at about 8 miles an hour, and you're surprised that he hit it so damn hard. Give me a break.
Yeah, so like I see people like this in the Louisville area that always come that like they're ex-college athletes that are playing against like the local YMCA guys, right? And yeah, they're scoring like 30, 40 points, right? But like when you brought up like who was it that scored the points? Was it Isaiah Thomas?
Points,
yeah.
Isaiah Thomas,
yeah. So I mean, yeah, he is supposed to do that, but at the same time, there is a reason why he's no longer in the league, right? Is because he is not at the top of his game. I believe Isaiah Thomas was out of the NBA because he tore his ACL or like he got hurt, right? I don't remember exactly what happened, but he tore his ACL
hip
or
injury.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean like that just shows you his worth ethic to get back, and at the same time, yeah, maybe he doesn't deserve a 10-day contract or an NBA contract, but at the same time, we talked about 2 weeks ago when the high school team scored 167 points to 2 or like whatever, right? It is your job to stop me. If you can't stop me, why are you here? And so yeah, I mean, yeah. I don't know.
Maybe the high school girls team should all be in the NBA. They scored 167 points.
Probably. I mean, shit, why not?
You see, Trent Mason's comment here on YouTube says Brian Scalabrine is a perfect example. There's a video of him 1v1 someone that got tweeted at him.
Yeah, these guys are just on a whole nother level. It's mind-boggling. The worst player imaginable is better than anyone you'll ever see in your life or play against in your life. It's, Shaquille O'Neal, I use as an example, big fat Shaquille O'Neal on the Celtics, like when he was actually at his worst. I would tell guys like, dude, he'd come down here and play point guard, he'd run everybody off the floor. Like that's how amazing these guys are.
So
yeah,
NBA,
absolutely.
like NBA, yes, but just because you never really lose your shot, right? I mean like your shot is always there. The fundamentals are like always there. It's just the first step quickness to the basket. It's the endurance, etc. Now, if we were talking about any other sport, baseball, football, soccer, right? Yeah, like once you are out of the league, you are on the same playing field as like me, more than likely. Let's just be honest.
Well, that's a great example because I've been watching this YouTube guy, Destroying, Destroying, who is a former UCF kicker, and he played for the Toronto Argonauts as a kicker. And his real name is Donald De La Haye. And yeah, he's got a great leg. I mean, we watch him on these videos kicking 50, 60-yard field goals, like just on a nice sunny day, right?
Right.
And he'll challenge people. Like he challenged like the #1 high school kicker in the country to a kicking contest, and he beat him. And you'll get people who say, why isn't this guy in the NFL? Well, because he's not good enough. Or he would be in the NFL. That's the thing.
Right.
Yeah.
You used to see that all the time. Like what was the one of the video of the guy who went viral because he was able to make trick shots, right? And then didn't the Jets or somebody sign him, the Jets or the Jaguars, and somebody signed him and he lasted about 3 games before they released him?
Yeah, I think it was the Chiefs. And he was a quarterback, and I think even in college he had like a 70% completion percentage. But then you put him in the NFL and he was just absolute garbage.
Yeah, but no, there was a kicker who was making like trick shots. He was kicking them from all different sorts of angles. And I want to say it was the Jets that signed him to an NFL deal. And the guy was never heard from again after that because he could make all sorts of trick shots, but he couldn't kick anything into the wind 30 yards straight downfield. Like it's one of those things where you watch some of these guys out there and great. All right. So this 24-year-old challenged this high school kicker. So this 24-year-old had a stronger leg than a 16-year-old high school kicker. Cool. Congratulations.
But also on the flip side of that coin, that's the #1 kicker in the nation, right? Like he was the #1 kicker in the nation, probably going to get a Division I scholarship to Florida,
what
Texas,
do we say
whatever.
all the time? What do we say all the time about college guys going up against pros, right? They're grown men going up against boys. It'll never work, right? They're bigger, they're stronger. This was a 24-year-old grown man going up against a high school kid.
Well, see, kicking is a different thing. Kicking's all it is all
leg strength,
technique. No, it's
technique.
it is the natural swing of the leg. Yes, some leg strength, like squatting 400 pounds might help you a little bit, but it is the ability to crank your leg back and kick yourself in the back of the head and whip that leg through. We see 14, 15, 16-year-old professional soccer players all the time, Combs. They're playing up against 30, 40-year-olds. What makes them any stronger or more of a man than a 40-year-old?
Because they're old, they're bigger, they're stronger. There's a lot of leg power involved in that. You know what I want to know? That guy who used to do all the trick shots. I can't even remember what the hell his name was.
You totally just skimmed over the
trick shots.
Conversation there, Combs. There's 14, 15, 16-year-old professional soccer players playing up against 40-year-olds. What's the difference between a 24-year-old kicker going up a 16-year-old kicker?
First of all,
there is no difference.
Kicking a soccer ball and running past a 40-year-old man at 16, that's not impressive either. You're 16, you better be able to outrun my old ass. You better.
But they're both professional soccer players.
You're kicking the soccer ball from what, 20, 30 feet out to try to get it in the net, and you've got a team full of guys and you're trying to beat a goalie. Kicking a field goal is you're going up against the goalposts, and you've got to kick the ball far and kick it in between the goalposts. And there's not a whole lot of strategy to it, right?
So you're saying soccer's easier than kicking a field goal?
That's not what I'm saying at all.
Then what are you saying? What are you saying then?
I'm saying you have two totally different scenarios there.
How is it a different scenario? You have a 16-year-old going against a 30-year-old playing a professional sport for money, for millions of dollars, kicking it. There's 11 players on a soccer team, right?
Yes.
Versus a clear sunny day, the wind at your back. There's no pressure. A 16-year-old versus a 20-year-old kicking a ball. No difference, Combs.
Yes, there is a big difference. What are you talking, Wayne? Please tell me I'm not out of my mind here. Like, Buck is crazy here, right?
Well, so, I mean, Buck's right about you being wrong here on this one because of the fact that he is right about a 16-year-old against a 30-year-old in the heat of competition versus a 16-year-old versus a 30-year-old on a sunny day in shorts and a T-shirt. And you're saying, no, it's different. Well, what are you saying? Are you saying that it's easier in
This is
soccer,
why I vote for Jesse.
Anyway, but what I would say to Buck though is that those 16-year-old players usually aren't very good and they don't play a lot unless they're in the MLS, and then they get like a minute or two of playing time,
right.
And they're playing against 30, 40-year-old guys who also aren't good enough to play over in Europe, and so they're kind of all in the same thing. But again, that's where Brandon would be right, is that technically those 30-year-olds would be able to roll those 16-year-olds, except soccer, you're not allowed to knock people over like that. So where I think Buck's right, going back to him, is that it's a non-contact in both situations. You've got a man versus a boy in both situations. It's the same, Combs.
But all right, so if you're kicking a ball, if you're trying to kick a field goal from 30 or 40 yards out, doesn't the 24-year-old with the stronger leg who works out and does this for a living have a better shot than the 16-year-old who does it in high school and who's not as developed as the 24-year-old?
Well, not the 16-year-old also works out and kind of does it for a living. I mean, he's going to college on a scholarship.
But sure, he does it for a living too. But you're just more developed. Your muscles are stronger at 24 than they are at 16.
I would say the 16-year-old has
debatable.
more.
And then second of all, when you're in soccer, sure, if a 16-year-old scores a goal over a 30-year-old, sure, how was the pass put to him? Was he able to beat the defense? Like, what? There's so many different nuances that go into it between soccer and kicking a damn field goal.
No, I think what Buck was saying is that the 16-year-old shouldn't be able to compete with those 30-year-olds, and they can.
Correct.
I just think it's a different game. There's a lot of standing around in soccer. There's a lot of,
have you ever really watched a soccer game, Combs? There is, like, I think I remember seeing a stat where,
I watched
like, at one point
3
they
days
run
ago.
like
Guess what? 3 days later,
miles.
It's still nothing to nothing.
Yeah, but
there's a lot of standing around in hockey too. They just don't move at all.
Yeah,
I will fight you until you bleed.
Soccer is non-stop running, non-stop, except for the goalies. The goalies are the ones who don't really
run around in hockey.
What?
Hockey, you just roll back and forth.
Yeah.
Like you,
I was making fun of hockey because
one punt, you're skidding around the guy. You're like, oh, yay.
You guys finish this segment. I'm done.
No, it just because we're right. Soccer, you actually have to put effort into running down the court.
You're an idiot.
Hockey, you do like 2-3 power strokes and you're gain speed the whole way. You don't stop until you want to stop.
You and me, somewhere with cameras around on the ice. You and me.
Hey.
Come on, it's easy.
I got my helmet right here.
Do you know why soccer players? Do you know why soccer players don't play hockey?
That won't help you.
The reason soccer players don't play hockey is because they don't have vaginas.
Oh my god.
Very, very true.
All right, next topic.
I'm voting for Jesse in every vote, even if he's wrong from now on.
Yeah. So this one's not really debatable, so it'll be a quick one. But obviously, Urban Meyer is going to be coaching Notre Dame next year.
Shut up! No, he is not.
It has been his dream job since he was at Bowling Green, since he was at Utah, since he was at Ohio State. He wants to coach Notre Dame. Now it's vacant, and he can go in there and coach it. He doesn't want to be in Jacksonville. He's got 187-32 record in college, 12-3 in bowl games. The last time Notre Dame won a national championship was 1988. They're going hard after Urban Meyer.
Combs, you want to go first, or you want me to go first?
I don't know what it is, but I can't stand you right now, Wayne. You are making me my brain hurts more than it does when I'm just working with Buck. But now I'm working with you, and how can you say that Urban Meyer is coming to Notre Dame when why would Notre Dame want Urban Meyer?
Because he's won 3 national championships, and they haven't won any in that span.
He's won 3 national championships. He's also had more lap dances than Notre Dame's had bowl games in the last year on camera. So stop. They are not going to bring a guy like that into Notre Dame. They're just not.
All right.
I don't understand why people keep saying, "Oh, he's going to be the next Notre Dame coach." I just don't get it. I think that they've got Marcus Freeman. I think that he is probably going to be the one that takes over for Brian Kelly. I think that they are ready with him. But when Brian Kelly tried to get Marcus Freeman and tried to get Reese to go with them, and neither one of them did because they were more dedicated to the school than they were to Brian Kelly. I think that won them over, and I think that Marcus Freeman is going to coach Notre Dame, and I think that Reese is going to be his assistant coach. And I think that they're going to build something there. I don't think Notre Dame even thinks about Urban Meyer. Not only that, they want, December 15th is really the big day for recruiting. They're not getting Urban Meyer before December 15th.
I don't know. I'm just saying that I know one way to not help recruiting is to make a no-name assistant your head coach.
Whoa, hang on, pause. So Marcus Freeman was a defensive coordinator for Cincinnati in 2019. He was one of the biggest sought out coaching coordinators to fill vacant head coaching jobs in all Power 5 conferences. He could have easily have got any head coaching job in a Power 5 conference, but he chose not to. He chose to go to Notre Dame because Notre Dame is, and I hate to say this is going to come very raunchy out of my mouth, Notre Dame is a top 10 coaching destination. Let's just be flat out honest. They have the most history. They have the best alums. They have one of the best stadiums out there and one of the greatest fan bases ever too. So why not have the opportunity to go compete at Notre Dame year in and year out? Number 2, Notre Dame has placed that intern tag on Marcus Freeman. The fans want him, the players want him, the administrative staff wants him as well. So and he is a young black coach as well. What better way to get better recruits into Notre Dame by having somebody that they can really relate to? Just because, let's be honest, Notre Dame right now, you have to be smart. You have to have like a 5.7 GPA. You have to have a 13,000 on your SAT, right? Like you have to be, is it Catholic or Christian? I can't
right.
Catholic.
And not only that,
Catholic.
But Marcus Freeman is going to offer them a chance to play. Marcus Freeman is going to offer them a chance to go to a prestigious school like Notre Dame. And what the hell is Urban Meyer going to offer them? Boats and hose?
A chance to play in a national championship, something that Freeman can't offer them.
That's what are you talking about? Notre Dame is basically a 10-win team every year.
Yeah, because they
Every
play
year
a bunch of
get rolled in the
nobody.
playoff.
So
If they get in the playoff this year, they'll win a national title under Marcus Freeman.
Combs,
They get
first
rolled 40-0.
first things first, they will not make it into the college football playoff whatsoever.
I know. I couldn't even say that with a straight face. They might make it to the playoff. They might make it to the playoff,
No, they're
but
not.
because I think Michigan and Alabama both lose this weekend.
Which
But
you're wrong.
That's the only reason. What do you mean I'm wrong?
Alabama beats-
Alabama's going to beat Georgia.
Alabama beats Georgia. Iowa beats
Oh, my God.
Michigan.
You also
Alabama-
thought Detroit was an 11-win team, so stop.
Alabama slides into the number 1 spot. Georgia drops down to number 2. They put Cincinnati at 4 still. Actually, they'll probably move Cincinnati out. Ohio State will move into 7, and they'll slide
Ohio
Ole Miss
State
into
is
4.
not jumping Oklahoma State and Notre Dame.
Oklahoma State will lose in the Big 12 championship game, too,
There has also never been a 2-loss team in the college football playoff.
until this year with Alabama.
Yeah, I just think that just like casting a movie, right? Notre Dame needs Tom Cruise, right? So they went out and they got Charlie Weiss and they got Ty Willingham and they got Brian Kelly. So they were going out and getting Matthew Perry, and they need Tom Cruise there. So they need to get Urban Meyer because he is the Tom Cruise right now of what Notre Dame would be looking for.
So Wayne, let me ask you this legitimate question here. Let's say somehow Notre Dame does back their way into the college football playoff and they make it to the national championship game. They don't win the national championship game, but they make it to the national championship game and they lose by 20 points with Marcus Freeman as their head coach. Doesn't that almost guarantee you a head coaching job at Notre Dame by getting your team there?
No, because they've been doing that. So if I guess if you want to keep doing what you've always done, just keep doing what you've always done. But if you want to do something different, if you want to make it to that next step, you want to get to the national championship and actually win it, you need to get somebody who's actually done it. And none of their head coaches have actually done it since 1988. So bring in a coach who has.
Notre Dame, the Catholic school, is not going to bring in the most immoral head coach that they can find. And
Yeah,
that's
he's a
what they
Roman
would be
Catholic.
doing. Yeah, he roams. His hands roam.
It
His
makes
legs
perfect
roam.
sense. He's a Roman Catholic. It makes perfect sense.
It makes no sense.
If you want to coach for 3 years to get you to one national championship and then all these allegations come up and he has a heart attack, that's your game.
Yeah. It's a horrible. If you're right, Wayne, and he does become a head coach in Notre Dame, it's a horrible hire by Notre Dame.
I don't think
Terrible
so. I think
hire.
You get a national championship and then you get 2 years of probation. It's worth it.
Well, would there even be probation now? Just because like most of the rules can be bent anyways now with the whole NIL thing, right?
But he's not the most moral person like Brandon's saying. So you
Right.
get your championship and then he gets suspended a couple years later.
Yeah,
It's worth it though, right?
You get suspended a couple years later, and then he quits and he goes to another program and ruins them too.
But you got a title since 1988.
That's
what
not the
it's all
Notre
about.
Dame way. I'm just telling you, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, NCAA schools, they're all about morality, not money.
Notre Dame is. That's why their academic standards are still so high to be able to play on the pro sport, to be able to play on their sports teams.
No, that's because
You
the
have to
school
maintain
in general.
a 3.7 GPA or higher at Notre Dame to play on their sports teams.
They're also taking physical education for 3 classes out of the 5
That's
that they got.
not happening
But-
at Notre Dame. I'm telling you right now.
So
It's always been that way. That's why they're still an independent.
No, the reason why they're independent is because they think they can make more money by playing all these schools that they want. But they're going to quickly find out next year when the college football playoff extends to 6 championship teams. So the 6 power conferences make it into the playoffs, and they're like, why aren't we in there? Because you're not in a conference. So they'll have to join the ACC.
All right, so the next one I got, this was a Facebook question that I actually got into quite a long debate about. But somebody had said, Mac Jones was a more significant draft pick than Tom Brady for the New England Patriots.
Oh.
And
That was
I said,
stupid.
that's completely right. It depends on how
What?
you want. Yeah, it depends on how you want to look at it. Now, obviously, if we're measuring up career versus career, then that's stupid. Like you said, it's stupid. But if we're talking about year 1 versus year 1, absolutely, it's more significant.
So as Combs thinks he is doing something great by walking off the show, he does it every night anyways. Quick call 911. No, I think if in hindsight here, Tom Brady played 12 games his rookie year, Wayne, Is
No.
is that right?
He threw one pass his rookie year for 6
Okay,
yards.
so the second year he played 12 games, right, when Drew
Right, and he
Bledsoe
won
went
the Super
down.
Bowl.
Okay, yeah. So if you want to go first year by first year, you can't really do first year, but let's do first year playing by first year playing, right? So let's say Mac Jones were to even take them to the playoffs. I think the Tom Brady draft pick is more relevant than Mac Jones because you got Tom Brady with the 6th round, the 199th pick, right? So you weren't expecting a lot out of Tom Brady. You are expecting a lot of Mac Jones. Let's just be honest. When you are
Even
first
more of a
round
reason
pick,
why it's a more impactful pick.
yeah. So you're saying that Mac Jones is a better pick than Tom Brady?
A
Right.
more impactful pick.
Okay. So when you say impactful, like what do you mean?
I mean, based on the fact of what was at stake, the New England Patriots needed a quarterback, which Tom Brady they did not.
Right.
Based on the fact that they used a 1st round pick on him, which is extremely valuable, versus a 6th round pick, which who cares if it pans out or not, and the fact that your rookie year you throw for 4,500 yards and 35 touchdowns versus one pass for 6 yards.
See, and I would have to say that the Tom Brady pick was more impactful because of everything that you said. You didn't need a quarterback. He fell into your lap per se, and he was there at the right time to
What impact did he
fill a
make
need.
his rookie year? What impact did he make his rookie year?
He made one completion, right?
One completion for 6 yards. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas Mac Jones is going to throw for 4,500 yards. So that's why it's more impactful. Now, like I was saying, if you're comparing career for career, I totally 100% think it's a stupid thing to say. But just comparing year one for year one, it's completely intelligent to say that he's more impactful because he has been. Tom Brady made literally 0 impact his rookie year.
Yeah.
Versus the more impactful Mac Jones. So it's not necessarily a better pick, but it's a more impactful pick so far.
Year one, yes, because I didn't realize that I was basing it off the 12 games that Tom Brady's played his second year. So year one, Dwayne, you are absolutely correct. Combs, welcome back to the show, big guy. What are your thoughts on it?
I just went and crapped out a better take than what you had. What you're doing there is taking it off of a technicality. Technically, it's a better and more impact. It's not a more impactful pick. Tom Brady was a pick that took the New England Patriots from basic obscurity. They had a couple of good seasons, but basic obscurity into the model franchise that everybody wants to be like.
Did the
Well,
pick
again,
do
you're
it or did the
comparing
injury do
careers.
it?
I'm not comparing career. I'm comparing players. I'm comparing players in the pick.
You're comparing their careers.
I'm comparing the pick.
Tom Brady
The
didn't
pick.
make the Patriots a franchise his rookie year.
I'm not talking about just his rookie year. You said
I
the
am
pick.
because Mac Jones
He's
only
not
played 1 year.
He's not a more impactful pick. There will never be another more impactful pick than Tom
year
Brady.
for year so far he is. Prove me wrong. Show me something. That
Okay, so
Tom
then
Brady
Derrick
his rookie
Rose
year.
was a more impactful pick than Michael Jordan.
No, Michael Jordan was the rookie of the year. He averaged 30 points a game as a rookie. What are you talking about, moron?
I'm trying to show you how stupid of a take you have. That's
Well,
what
then
I'm
you have
trying
to come
do.
up with a non-stupid take yourself. Michael Jordan averaged 30 as a rookie. Derrick Rose averaged 16. So what are you saying, dipstick? Give me an actual, decent take. You can't, because it makes sense that you're... And so here's where I was transitioning that into my basketball take, which I've had for years now, is I call Trae Young Steph 2.0, meaning a better version of Steph Curry. Now, again, he hasn't had the Steph Curry career. He hasn't had a 73-9 season. He hasn't won an MVP. But first 3 seasons versus first 3 seasons, it's not even close. Steph Curry shouldn't even be mentioned with him.
So, looking back at Steph Curry's career, he probably didn't really come on to year 5, maybe, like after they.
Yeah, you're 4 or 5.
Yeah. So it is tough just because some players, Wayne, hit their prime later in their career. Year 5, 6, 7. When Trae Young definitely took the. Was it his rookie year or his second year when they went head to head with the Knicks in the playoffs and
That was just last year.
yeah. So Trae Young has been kind of surrounded by a pretty good team to really elevate his play. Steph Curry was the first building stone on that Golden Warriors team to really elevate him, and then therefore he could elevate his play as well. So if you were to, in theory, place Trae Young on the Golden State Warriors when Steph Curry was drafted, what, 2006 was that when Steph Curry was drafted? 2007?
Yeah, well, a little ways back.
Yeah, so let's say Trae Young was there then. I'm not for sure if Trae Young could take the lumps like Steph Curry did, just because we see Trae Young get so upset when things don't go his way. Steph Curry's kind of like, yeah, I'll roll with it. So I think Steph Curry is like a one of a kind myself. Like he's a very he's a great
phenomenal.
basketball
He's a
player.
first ballot Hall of Famer, you know, and Trae Young's not right now. But year 3 for year 3, he's better. And that was my whole thing with the impactful pick, is that year 1 for year 1, Mac Jones was a more impactful player. Now, by the end of next year, we'll see, because Tom Brady won a Super Bowl at the end of his second year. So we'll see what happens there. But just for now, just for today, as it stands, Mac Jones was a more impactful pick.
So we do have a question that came up here real quick, Wayne.
Blasphemy.
So Alpha Rob asks, so was Aaron Rodgers more impactful than Brett Favre pick?
I see Supos foaming at the mouth backstage.
That's actually a good question, because, you know, Brett Favre was, you know, they traded for Brett Favre, right? They didn't pick him. Green Bay didn't pick him. They traded for him. And then Aaron Rodgers sat for 3 years before he, had a chance to actually play. So neither one of them made an impact initially. So I'd have to actually really go back and look at like year 1 versus year 1. I would probably say Brett Favre was more impactful, only because he actually made an impact earlier than Aaron Rodgers did.
Supos, you've been sitting backstage. Have you? Tell me I'm not wrong for walking off on this blasphemy that Mac Jones is a more impactful pick than Tom Brady.
Are we this friggin' bored? This is what we're doing. This dog shit. This is what I walked into. We have nothing to talk about with everything going on in sports right now, that we're going to sit here and bring up what was the more impactful pick, the greatest football player of all time that's gone to 10 Super Bowls. We're going to sit here and make a point about how Mac Jones was more impactful because he's out there his rookie season. Tom Brady, we have no idea. Tom Brady didn't get to play his rookie season. What? This is the dumbest question. This is the stupidest question. There's so much crap going on in sports right now. What type of question is this?
This is a question that has garnered a lot of interest on Facebook. So I pull a lot of these questions from, questions
there's your first problem, Wayne.
Questions
People
that
are a bunch of idiots.
have 40 or 50 comments on them.
There's no logic or thought process. I get on NFL memes all the time, and people just say, here's my comment of the day. The Dallas Cowboys suck wiener. Great. That's awesome. Fantastic. Great insight there. And then they all jack each other off in the comments nonstop, back and forth. Like, that's not what we should be going up. There is a fantastic game happening Monday night that you could be comparing any of that. We've got the MLB potentially imploding. We've got friggin' people getting caught in trouble in the NBA for doing things they're not supposed to do. We've got all this other crap. We've got LeBron crying because his vagina hurt. We've got all this stuff we could talk about. We got Correa probably going to the Cubs. Probably piss Combs off. But no, we're going to talk about what's more impactful, Mac Jones or Tom Brady. God.
Yeah. Well, Wayne, first of all, Wayne would never know anything about baseball. Wayne doesn't know anything about baseball other than like Sammy Sosa once said, baseball been very, very good to me. That's all he knows about baseball.
Sheesh.
Second of all, he clearly doesn't know anything about football because he wants to talk about how Mac Jones is a more impactful pick than Tom Brady.
How can you answer that question without 2 full careers?
Dude, I just walked off the set.
That's exactly my point. So I'm going to explain this, because Soup Boss is an actual logical guy like myself. And he knows that I like to play mediator a lot of times.
I think that this question is stupid.
So
let's go.
By the way, I didn't pose the question. I was just playing the mediator role because I'd seen the question.
I'm sure it's that goofy person underneath me on the screen that's chucking it up in the background, realizing he's creating chaos. The Arizona Cardinals are sucking in the NFL this year. I'm pretty sure it was him creating the chaos, but sure.
How it had come up, and I was like, because Brandon walked off, he didn't get to hear about it, right? How it came up was because somebody had posed the question, or they'd said, Mac Jones was a more impactful draft pick than Tom Brady. And people were going bananas, like, this is so stupid, right? Like you were saying, right? But then I looked at it from this standpoint. I said, okay, listen, you can look at it one of 2 ways. Now, obviously, Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback that ever played. He's maybe the greatest player that ever played. So comparing their
Yeah.
careers, 11 games versus 400 games, that's really unfair and it's stupid.
But you're
But if we're just-
comparing a rookie season that got to happen versus a rookie season that didn't get to happen.
That's
exist.
why it's more impactful. Because he had more of an impact as a rookie.
No, it's not a more impactful pick. It's a more impactful rookie season. It's not
So
a more
then you
impactful
say,
pick.
so you would say, so far, it's a more impactful pick.
No, I wouldn't. I
Point
would say
Wayne
so
G.
far he's had a more impactful rookie season.
Yeah.
So it was a more
That's not a
impactful
more
pick so
impactful
far.
pick. No, because
That's
you
not a
make
more
the
impactful
pick and
pick.
then the player plays their whole career, Wade. You don't get to only say Tom Brady. We're only going to look at him
And
his rookie season.
that's
We
why I'm
only know
ending-
what Tom Brady has succeeded in, what he's gone through, and what he will continue to probably go through for the next freaking 10 years while he defies the time altogether. While the rest of us get white in the damn beard because we're yelling at yahoos on the internet. All the
That's
damn
why I ended with so far. So far, it's more impactful. It doesn't mean it will be forever. It just means so far, it's more
So far, there's no equation. That's
There is-
the answer.
there is an
I'm
equation. We've got all
logical.
kinds of numbers.
So far, it's a math equation that there's absolutely no way of comparing the
Hey,
two.
I
You can't
like
compare them.
this one. I like this one on our YouTube. And it was Alpha Rob who came in and said, how about a better question? Was Aaron Rodgers more impactful of a pick than Brett Favre?
We literally asked
could-
that 10 minutes
that's-
ago.
We just said that. Jeez.
Yeah, but I stopped listening to you as soon as you said Mac Jones was more impactful than Tom Brady.
They did. say
I don't
that.
even
That's-
care. I'm
they
trying to
literally
change the subject. Stupid.
Wayne, what's the next topic?
So the last one I got here.
Oh,
is
we're
a movie-
giving him another one?
Of
Yeah,
course.
This is my movie topic of the week, and this is one that kind of came up, and it'll probably take people time to think about, but think about it and get back
What's a
to
better
Man Hour.
movie? Remember the Titans or Titanic?
Well, that's
Titanic,
I don't
all
know.
day.
I mean, Titanic. I guess if you go by the
Oh,
awards.
I hate you guys so much.
Go ahead and
So-
piss on another one of my favorite movies, Wayne. Go ahead, do it. Let's do
Well,
it.
this isn't about
You've
a
already
particular
got me in a
movie.
mood. I haven't had to freaking be on here for an actual segment.
So
It's yell at
something-
Wayne Hour. That's all
so-
it is right now.
Okay, something that you guys can think about. Get back to Man Hour. Get back to @Recasted Podcast. Somebody had asked, if you could have one director's catalog for forever. You're stuck on an island. You have one director's catalog that you can watch for the rest of your life. They go, why would it be Steven Spielberg? And I said, well, it wouldn't be Steven Spielberg. Now, granted, he's got Indiana Jones and Jurassic Park, but obviously the second and fourth Indiana Jones sucked. And he only did the one Jurassic Park. We got E.T., Jaws. Schindler's List isn't exactly rewatchable. So you're not going to watch all these movies multiple times. So I went for mine, and you guys can think about it. I went with Rob Reiner because you got The Princess Bride and A Few Good Men. And both of those movies I could watch 100 times. We got The American President, which I love, with Michael Douglas. Sleepless in Seattle, Stand By Me. I just think Rob Reiner has a more rewatchable catalog, whereas Spielberg has a more accolade-laden catalog.
My director of choice would be Tim Burton, because he just has that weird mind with the Nightmare Before Christmas and like that Frankenstein movie with has the dog. It's kind of like a retwist of the Nightmare Before Christmas. Like I just kind of just like the way his movies are all kind of like the same, and you can spot one of his movies out hands down. I like
Because it
Tim
looks like a
Burton.
pile of crap.
What?
Because it looks like a pile of crap, so I can spot it. Like I want to watch Johnny Depp and Helena Bonham Carter for the rest of my life.
How about Beetlejuice? He was a Beetlejuice.
I would go. My selection would be Martin Scorsese.
All right.
I like a lot of his movies. The Departed was one of my favorite movies of all time. I really enjoyed that one. He had the Irishman. He had Shutter Island. Just so many good movies that are out there
Shutter Island's
that
so
were
good.
his. Casino was a phenomenal movie. So yeah, I would go with Martin Scorsese.
Yeah, see, my issue with Scorsese, because I think he's phenomenal as a director as well. Again, I look at the rewatchability. Like I'm gonna have to watch these movies 100 times. And in terms of his catalog, I could watch Wolf of Wall Street 100 times easy. I love Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
And then, Goodfellas I can watch a lot. Not maybe as much as Wolf of Wall Street because it's lacking that comedy, I guess. And then everything else he does is kind of dark. So again, I'm thinking I'm stuck on this island forever. I'm going to watch all kinds of serious, depressing shit. Like I just got to, I want to get some
Well,
comedy
you're
in
stuck
my
by
head.
yourself on an island. I mean, what do you? If that's the case, if you're talking about I'm stuck by myself on an island, I'm probably going with a Pornhub director.
Yeah, but you can't watch that 24/7.
Combs can. That's why he has 12 wives, right?
You see that? Do you see our group chat that we have behind the scenes? Do you see half the stuff that gets typed in that? You don't think that the dudes in this chat and on this show can watch Pornhub 24/7? You're out of your damn mind. I'm pretty sure Buck was watching Pornhub before we got
He's
on the
probably
show.
got it up on one of his screens right now that we can't see.
I do
It
got
was
6
because of
screens.
something I said to him, so he doesn't even need it to be a female. He's just like, all right, cool. Soup Boss said something to me that got me rised up and get going. I'm gonna go watch Pornhub. Are you kidding me?
How about if you're going by you're stuck on an island forever, wouldn't you want a director that has like a huge catalog like somebody like Woody Allen? Like I feel like Woody Allen's been around forever and he has probably tons of movies.
Right, well, Spielberg's got a huge catalog, but the second half of his career has been crap. I mean, we got Minority Report, AI, War of the Worlds. You're getting all that garbage along with it. So for me, I was just thinking, I need to find 2 or 3 movies I can
almost
really
said
binge
one
watch.
movie I was gonna reach through the screen and punch
I'll
you.
take M. Night Shyamalan over freaking the second half of Spielberg's career.
Now we're getting off the rails.
I'm gonna give you guys one that is because of his creative elements altogether. That gives you a different array of them, because a lot of these directors you said obviously have amazing, world-defying film and everything like that. But I like the creative stuff. I'm gonna be an island by myself. I don't want it to be the same repetitive crap. It's nowhere near as big in terms of catalog size, but give me James Gunn all damn day. Absolutely, James Gunn. It's got one of the most underappreciated horror movies of all time in 13 Ghosts. Guardians of the Galaxy by far is one of my favorite movies. He's credited with the Avengers, Belko Experiment, Dawn of the Dead, and hell, if you just get really, bored, you can watch the Scooby-Doo movies that he had. But Brightburn's on there, so there's Slither. So you get a different array at least with that. Creative in some sense, not as big of a catalog, but give me something that's a little bit different. That's my only problem with some of the big directors. And I know a lot of people love Spielberg because he does different ones, but you can tell Spielberg's touch on almost every single movie, which is great calling card for him, but it almost makes, even though different genres of his movies, they almost feel the same in some way. I don't know. I was going for the creative answer. I was trying to see if I could piss off Wayne the way he pissed me off.
No, we didn't say you didn't say Tarantino, so we're good.
Yeah.
All right, so
Nah.
all right, so Wayne, it's time to let you go here. So guys, be sure to tweet your answer at Wayne G on Twitter. Twain. Wayne, what is your Twitter for Recast 2.0?
It is at Recasted Podcast on Twitter and on Facebook. We also have the All Things Movie category on Facebook. You can join that, post anything you want that's related to movies, and we can just talk movies. Or like I said, if you want to shoot your answer at the Man Hour, obviously we support them. Every podcast, we give them a shout out. So let us know what director would you want their entire catalog for the rest of your life.
All right, and when is your next show getting ready to drop?
So we're going to do a holiday episode, which is an ironic holiday episode because we're going to recast Die Hard. And the reason that it's funny and ironic is because neither Jesse nor myself consider it a Christmas movie, but we're still calling it our holiday episode.
Oh my God, it's definitely a Christmas movie.
Christmas movie. It is literally the director said it's a Christmas. You can't put any other holiday in that movie and make it work. It's proven.
Well, I know what I'm going to be talking about next week.
Oh, all righty. So on that note, Wayne, thanks for joining us, man. We'll see you next week.
All right. See you then.
Wayne's question next week: what's a more impactful season for the Die Hard movie?
All right, Wayne. We'll see you next week. All right, guys. So it is that special time of night here where we bring a guy on the show and let him do some stuff here. So yeah.
We did. That's it. The show's done. Like.
It's a spill soup. Let the boss take the lead. Your predictions are all wrong. It's a spill soup. Your hot takes are bad. Let the soup boss bring it home. Spilled soup, spilled soup, spilled soup, spilled soup. Clear the way. The soup boss will lead the way. It's a spilled soup. Let's be honest, man. Our needs submerge in hell. Time for spilled soup.
And it is time for Spilled Soup.
80s rock band intro, Combs. Come on, baby.
Yeah, that is the first time you've heard the intro.
That?
My pops made it. Yeah.
What the hell was that?
Amazing, isn't it?
That sounded like, I swear to God, it sounded like we went out and got like freaking Poison to do a
That's what I'm saying. It's 80s
Soup
rock,
song.
hair rock band, man.
All right, guys. So it is.
intros for 90s sitcoms.
It is time for some
Axl
spilled
Rose's
soup here.
long lost brother did spilled soup for us.
No, who's the dude that had the KFC hat on? Slash, right? There you go. Slash did it.
Buckethead on Axe with Guns N' Roses. Come on, man. I'm already pissed off enough.
All right, so Patriots are number one in Gus Wallace's power rankings, Combs, or Soup Boss. Did you know that?
No, they're not.
I was trying to get his goat, Combs. All right, Soup. Tell us what spilled soup is all about.
Well, I mean, spilled soup is supposed to be stuff that I listen to throughout the week on this show, either on the show or going on the sports world or anywhere, and just come and lay logic and facts or truth or just scream into a mic for a while. I had two things lined up and I can't even remember anything because I walked onto the show to hear about who got more impactful draft pick ever. A guy that's been playing less than a year or a dude that's played longer than most people and their kids in the league combined. For crying out loud. That's like, are people over in Britain are going to just listen to this stuff and just know exactly why we're
spilled
bad?
their
We're so
tea and threw their crumpets when they heard that question.
God,
I mean,
bangers and mash, for crying out loud.
he is right, guys. I'm just throwing it out there.
You're
Buck,
just a
go-
pain in the
go
ass
home.
that loves to just get people going. Where are the Cardinals ranked for you? Let's make this spilled soup number one. Where are the Cardinals ranked for you? 20th?
Look at him, Soup. Why do you
6th.
expect anything less from him? He's got a Cowboys hat on with the Packers flag in the background, and he's a freaking Kansas City Chiefs fan.
Super Bowl champs, baby.
Super Bowl chance tucked up off the side with some
Yeah,
crummy
that you
type
can't
of
see it.
flex
Yeah. Yeah.
that you can't see off to the side. I'm going to carry it down to show everyone.
Meanwhile, my team that I have displayed barely beat the 0-10-1 Lions.
Hey, did you hear that Matt Nagy might get fired before
Shut
the
up.
season's over? Oh man. Okay.
I hate you all.
I'm not kidding. I literally had two things. The second one had a two-parter. The first one had to do with the NBA. I figured we get enough NFL, we get enough. Well, we don't get enough NHL, but no one wants to talk NHL with me.
I do.
Well, I know you do, Combs, but I know when you and I have done an NHL show, people like Buck are out there wanking it off to Pornhub or something and saying we're a bunch of idiots or something.
So let me
Far
ask
better
you
sport.
this question here. You are a college football guy. You are a Texas fan. I don't know why, because Texas sucks. But we'll digress from that a little bit
Well,
here.
that's right, because I just jump ship when my team sucks, and I just go and put a Packers flag in the back while I wear a Cowboys hat, you friggin' tool.
That's my wife. You're just jealous. And Tool's a great band too. So don't dish that name. So so on Tuesday, Soup, college football, they had their meetings, right? Their winter meetings, and they were trying to expand the playoffs to 12 teams. Talks quickly got shut down because people did not agree. They basically want 6 conference champions and then 6 other teams, or they said, and I quote, we'll just stay at 4 teams. What is a logical way that college football can expand to 12 teams? First of all, I think 12 teams is too much. 8 would be perfect. Like, what is your ideal way of college playoffs?
There's no such thing as too much.
My answer. Jeez. I mean that's the logic has nothing to do with making it logically fit for an X amount of teams. The logical way is looking at this is that every single year since they finally put the college football playoffs in, which was 20 years too late because they were still being and voting on who should be the national champion. With teams literally lifting up the national championship trophy, not fully sure if they were going to win it or not. That's how terrible it was. But they went to 4 teams, and the complaint has constantly been that usually a 5th or 6th ranked team is stronger than a team ranked usually around 3rd or 4th. So the simple answer is you just double it. That's it. And you get your 5 conference champions, and then you get the, let's say Georgia is to lose the SEC championship against Bama. Well, Georgia would probably be one of the other 3 teams to get in. You take the 3 strongest. Then when it becomes the argument of, well, the 9th ranked team or 10th ranked, at that point, listen, this is like baseball potentially trying to put in every damn team into the playoffs if they ever play baseball again. It's ridiculous. You don't have to go overboard. They started the beginning of this season before it started actually trying to vote on 16 teams. Why they went 4 and waited so long to go 4 and then heard everyone go, this team at 5 or 6 should be in. And their first final response 15 years later was to go, so 16. Let's go for 16. Just complete opposite ends of the spectrum. Makes no sense. So then that gets shut down. I don't understand. No one thinks. And to Combs, I know he's going to bring it up. It's all money. It's all money focus. But I keep driving the point that March Madness brings in money because you bring in the big names and you bring up the teams that can upset. And in college football, it's not as easy as basketball. So when you bring in the 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th to 16th teams, you're not going to get upsets as often. But a 7th team upsetting a 2 seed team in the college football playoffs in football is probably potentially able to happen, especially when teams like Central Florida, Boise State, teams in Cincinnati's may be ranked around there and have the opportunity because they can play against some of these big teams.
Super. I'm with you. It's going to be Buck that brings up the money thing. I want to say, look, I would say, let's put 64 teams out there. I don't care. It's more freaking college football. And it's more chances for Alabama to get beat by like another unranked, unnamed team this year. So I'm all for it. I'm all for as many teams as they want to give us. If it's going to be 8, if it's going to be 12, it's going to be 16. I don't care.
It's crazy that they go to such an end of a spectrum. Just take what you have now and double it up. And then if you get to 8 and you see the money start to flow in, then you go, okay, can we expand this a little bit more? And you do it a little bit more. And the craziness is they're like, well, you only play football once a week, which I get. And it's not like basketball and the students and what they have to do. They let students that are basketball players all March and early April while school is in session. You're telling me you can't have these players potentially play 2 to 3 playoff games in the December? Oh, no, it's December break homes. These students are just going home. Like it's December break.
Also, you can cut the season down. Why does Alabama have to play Mercer in New Mexico State? To take 2 games out of the freaking season.
We need to show our fans what we have for players on the field.
Yeah. Take 2 games out of the damn season. Don't allow them to play these unnamed schools like Mercer, New Mexico State, the Perkins School for the Blind. They don't need to play those teams, and let them go ahead and just add in 2 or 3 weeks and let them go ahead and add in more playoff weeks and take out the December break like Supa's talking about. You could absolutely right there. You could add 7 more weeks of playoff college football, and it would be amazing. Okay. We would love it. Everybody says they wouldn't like it. We would love it. We would eat it up. We would be talking about it on this show all week long.
And you could still have the bowl games. You could still you entice in the higher end bowl games. They bring in more money. You can now give the students more money. That entices them to play even harder. You get the
and those higher end bowl games could be the semifinals, quarterfinals, and finals.
In March Madness, it proves it's that you have the second tournament. You have a 64 teams tournament. They have a second tournament that still does great on ratings and still brings in money. Yeah. There's 64 we suck teams, but hey, we're gonna celebrate if we win this tournament, and it still brings in money. And basketball.
Could you imagine the money involved in the brackets of a college football playoff?
Insane.
Okay.
Insane.
You guys are just talking crazy now. So 16 teams is absolutely
here comes the voice
stupid.
Of logic.
No, this is the voice of reason here, 100%. So the first 2 weeks of the college football season, it is not to show what players we got in Alabama. It is so these small name schools, Mercer, Citadel, can actually play college football because Alabama's giving them $3 million to come down there to get their asses kicked. If we did not have those teams, the 129 NCAA Division I teams that we have right now would literally be cut in half just because teams could not financially afford to play. What?
Nope, not true. Nope, not even close to true. Because the second you monetize this system and the NCAA monetizes the system, it has been shown in many reports, you quadruple your earnings. And then guess what the NCAA does? They give money to the lower schools that can't perform at a higher level. Now, instead of it just being Mercer or just being, because you're talking about a bottom half, the bottom half don't all get to play in these games, Buck. Mercer gets to do that once every 4 or 5 years. But every year, monetizing that team to be able to get them better equipment, to better their field, to better their stands, to give more money to their students for scholarships across multiple sports. That's how you do it. You monetize the whole system. The system pays the smaller schools whether or not they're getting the chance to play Alabama.
Okay,
And
so
now that's a voice of reason, Mr. Toilet Paper on my head, Mr. I wiped and put it on a flag behind me. That's voice of reason. That's how you can monetize this and still have it be a thing. That's how you can get those smaller schools more money. You bring them into a playoff system, you let them play in the playoffs, and that's how they make more money. Not by going to Alabama to get their butts whooped because Alabama wants a better chance at a freaking perfect season.
that has nothing to do with it, because like right now
Yes, it has
there is
everything to do
there
with
is
it.
no revenue sharing in the NCAA. So basically, you are saying we need to write a brand new rule book so we can start doing this revenue sharing and monetizing thing, right?
Well, the NIL wasn't just something that they've had kicking around for 20 years. Yes, Buck, when you do new
Right.
things, guess what? You write new rules and policies. Oh, that's a weird concept. Yes, if you create a 8, 12, 16-team playoff system and even create the lower bowl games for the other teams, and you let the TV rights and all the marketing and company endorsement money go into this whole bracket like March Madness, I just don't get. If there's no such thing as March Madness, I get people saying it. But we literally have a lesser sport in the same element, this NCAA, that makes millions upon millions of dollars, that money funnels down to the smaller schools and feeds into their students for basketball and other sports and their buildings, and football destroys them in ratings and monetization. And yet for some reason we believe there's no way that you could do it and it would destroy the schools. It's such a bull-loney excuse and crock, because if basketball can do it, there's no reason football can't do it with about a half of the teams.
Yeah,
quarter of the teams.
so I see your point there, and I will give you the monetized thing of the 16 teams. Now, let's poke holes into your March Madness theory here. Yes, there is the NCAA tournament and there's the NIT. The reason why both these tournaments thrive on TV rankings is because they're played on opposite days. What is going to happen when you have a college football playoff going into January, going into February, playing on Saturdays? The NFL plays on Saturdays. They are going to get destroyed in the ratings. I would rather watch NFL than college football any day of the week. So they're going to get destroyed in the ratings.
You don't put Buck.
When would you play these playoff games?
Do they currently play these playoff games now against the NFL schedule? Have you seen one college playoff game now put against an NFL game in the playoffs?
The first round's on Sundays or Saturdays. I do believe in the national championship is on Monday.
They don't play at the same time as any other game. And you want to know why the playoff game is on a Sunday night? It's because the NFL on that week doesn't have a Sunday night football game. Do you want to know why that happens? Because there are geniuses that put these schedules together and understand, hey, what is your schedule, Mr. Big Time NFL?
Facts.
These are what we're going to do. Okay, we'll schedule the games around everywhere else. And if Alabama and Ohio State are playing on a freaking Wednesday night, they're going to get a huge amount of ratings.
Facts.
It's not like the NFL is playing a Sunday through Saturday schedule, playing from 8 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. They purposely already do it around the NFL schedule. Adding 4 to 8 to 12 to 16 teams is not going to be something that it demands all that much away from it. And you're not going to have where you have games going on at the same time. March Madness has literal games in brackets going on at the exact same time. And do you know what happens? People get multiple screens. You see things where people have 4 or 5 different screens, and this is basketball. So they don't even need to do it in football. But you're telling me if 3 college playoff football games are going on at the same time that people want to watch it? Bull crap. There would
I'm
be
not
more
saying-
brackets,
How are
there'd
you
be more
not
money,
standing up
there
yet,
would be more
Buck?
ability.
How are you not standing up yet? How can you still sit down after that ass whooping you just took?
Just because like you are trying to say that
The only holes you're poking is your finger up your own butt with this stuff. Come on now, Buck.
which I do enjoy. But on the other side of that, when you have 3 or 4 college football games all at the same time, let's say Michigan's playing Ohio, Texas is playing Oklahoma, what other rivalry? Like there's 3 or 4 other rivalries happening at the same time. Are you going to be flipping back and forth? No, you as a Texas fan, you are going to be tuned into the Red River rivalry over the freaking Ohio State Michigan game, no matter what. So
how often are rivalry games going on at the exact same time, Buck?
I am just speaking of this as a
This
college playoff
past
time.
weekend, as championship games went on, how many were on at the exact same time?
I believe maybe 1.
Barely.
Yeah.
And you know what? Some games like OU and OSU were delayed because other games were going longer. Want to know why? Because the TV scheduling sets it up to give them the ability to do that because they pair it off against other sports, other times, and the ability to make it where no matter what, if you turn into ABC, you're going to get both of those games because they're on one after the other. And if one goes longer, the other game has to wait. Guess what happens in NCAA March Madness? That game goes long and you're the next one on the court. Guess what happens? You wait until that game is over.
So
And
what
not
you
only that, when it comes
And
to
this
TV
is-
time, if you've got 3, like it happens all the time in March Madness, where 4 games start at noon, and we're watching 4 games that start at noon. You're watching one game, and then you see across the ticker, oh crap, this game's really close. Oh crap, this team's about to upset this team. Let me switch over to that game real quick, and then you switch back and forth. Or you've got 2 monitors set up. You got a game on. I have it where I've got a game on my phone, game on the computer, and a game on the TV. Like you find a way to do it, and people will find a way to do it.
People will be
It makes too
plugged
much
in
sense
because
not to.
you monetize the bracket just like it's already done with basketball with a larger field. And guess what? To Combs' clear point right there, you will find a way. And yet we're going into deep ifs with your contemplation here, Buck, because they don't have to do that. There's even at 16 teams across a 5-week period, you can easily make it where it doesn't touch another game. It doesn't touch an NFL game. It does maybe you touch an NBA game. Who gives 2 craps? You're either watching NCAA football playoffs or you're watching an NBA game. Guess what's going to win? NCAA football. They're not worried about it. You're going to the amount of money that goes into it is just insane, and it's the dumbest. It just proves that boosters rule the world in NCAA football because they're pumping in funds in the back end of NCAA to make sure that Alabama still gets their votes and they can have less of a smaller impact and there's less chance of an upset or anything like that because money's coming in some way. If the NCAA just put on their big boy pants, realize that we the people funnel the most money in, more than boosters do, and NCAA basketball, March Madness proves it. Gamblers Anonymous would go through the roof and you'd be able to take all that money and funnel it to the smaller schools. And then Mercer doesn't have to go out. We talk about how much they get paid. Yeah, you know what they get paid to do? And I know once every 20 years, some Appalachian State pulls an upset over Michigan. Those teams go out and get their asses handed to them left and right. They get beat down, hurt. There's more injuries in those games for those teams than anything else. It raises medical costs. That raises a lot of other issues. That makes it a big, worse impact for their team because they still play teams in their own division. And then the rest of that year, they lose 3-star players because they went out against Alabama, who are jacked up meatheads 3 times their size that are crushing their larynxes on the field. You don't have to do that. And you can still funnel the money into the schools.
Yeah,
it's proven. It's just the boosters control the money.
Yeah, so I actually really like that monthly or the financially spending, breaking the money down. What's the term that they do in Major League Baseball? You guys want to talk about
Moneyball?
Revenue sharing?
Revenue sharing. There we go. So yeah, so I was simply playing devil's advocate, as you guys know. I do that very, very, very well.
No,
here.
you're just a jerk.
but
a jerk, Buck.
The one thing that really kind of popped out at me is 6 conference champions. There's only 5 power conferences. Who would be the 6th conference winner that would slide in there?
Go ahead, Combs. Answer it, Mr. Freaking Notre Dame.
No, they said 6 conference championships. Notre Dame's not in a conference.
Well,
You got the ACC, you got
They
the
are.
SEC, the Big 10, you got
3,
the Big 12,
4.
which is now like the Big 4, I think.
They got 8.
You've got the Mountain
Pac-10.
West, Pac-10.
yep.
So you're saying the Mountain West would be considered a top
Or
6 conference?
Yeah, why not?
Because who they got? They got San Diego State, Boise State, and
Yep.
that's about it, right?
Hey,
Is it
Boise's-
BYU still there? BYU's in the Mountain West. now, aren't
BYU
they?
is independent now, I do believe.
Yeah, they're now independent, but they were. But BYU created their skill set and got to where they needed to be through that. And Boise State for 15 years proved that they could hang with almost any college team.
Right.
I'd love to
out
see a
there,
national
so-
title game on the blue field.
So
Yeah,
that would never
that would be
happen.
funny.
It would be snowing there or whatever, and birds would be flying into the ocean or whatever. But so would that 6 conferences kind of, is that foreshadowing to say they're going to restructure all the conferences and just make 6 6 conferences total in the NCAA possibly?
It's going to happen anyway. The writing's already on the wall. I mean, with Oklahoma and Texas heading over to the SEC, the writing's already on the wall that that's going to happen. Why would Texas? And look, I know you're a Texas fan, Soup, but why would Texas want to go to the SEC?
Money.
They're not even ready to compete in the SEC.
Who says
But that's
that
what I'm
has anything-
saying. It's
it's
all
not-
about money. The writing's already on the wall.
Texas has sucked ass for 12 years,
Right.
and yet they still bring in some of the most money. Now you add
Exactly.
them to the conference that brings in even more money. It's just money. It's all
Yeah.
money. And
That's
that's
what I'm
why
saying.
the
The
whole
writing's already
element
on
of
the wall
playoffs,
for it to break down to 5 conferences, 6
Yeah.
conferences.
It's, I mean, the only thing I see that could tear it all away, and I wonder if the conversations have started, but they've delayed, is there's a part of me that wonders if the SEC's plan is to literally just say, we're on our own. Like, literally just say, we're SEC. We've got 16 schools, 20 schools. We'll play our own schedule, East West. We'll have our own tournament, and we'll monetize it for SEC schools only. We don't have to worry about being affiliated directly with the NCAA in terms of their league rules or anything like that. And I wonder if that's getting some pushback as well, because that's the only reason OU and Texas make damn good money down here. OU and Texas are life down here. And,
Dude,
and OU's obviously done well, but Texas hasn't, and they still have gonzo money. They left for even more money.
I would love to see them if they go to 16 teams. I'll allow the top 2 teams from Division 2 come into the tournament. See, can you imagine? Like, why not? We have 16 seeds in college basketball. Are never going to win a game except for once every 100 years.
That is different.
Why is it different?
Just
I agree
because
with Buck here.
To ask Appalachian State.
Well, because
How it felt when they beat
those
Michigan.
those
Ask who was the team that beat Florida State this year. Ask them how it felt when they beat Florida State. It can happen.
that's
One
the
out of
first game of the
every
year,
15,
not the
20
16
years.
games a year. Yeah, Combs. Like you are referring to NCAA March Madness basketball tournament. Those kids on the 16 seed still have AAU kids that have been playing with kids with Duke and North Carolina since they're 6 years old. The talent in college basketball is damn near even from 1 to 256 schools or however in Division
Right,
One.
but Buck, you know just as well as I do that there are some kids that are going to these schools that could be playing in Division One, but didn't have the money or didn't have the family assets where they were able to get their name out there and be seen.
So
they've got
22
some athletes that can.
But 22 players on the field, Combs, you may have one of those. You may have 2 of those. But when the other 9,
What
10
if it's your
players on the
quarterback
field
and one
aren't-
of your wide receivers? Like,
But your fucking offensive line cannot block a NFL division end. Like, no, that Combs, that guy is going to get killed. Talk about
It's gonna be
injuries.
embarrassing.
That guy is going to get killed.
99% of those games, Combs, are ending in scores of like 78-5, not even 5, 3 or 0. And yes, you have an Appalachian State. Yes, you have a team earlier this year that beat Florida State, but they're once every 15, 20 years. The majority, 95, 98% of those games are just disgusting blowouts with even the top teams putting in their their bench players late third, early fourth. And if you put it in a playoff game where it means that you move forward, you're going to see triple digit scores coming from the top tier team that are going to just absolutely embarrass. And then that's where then people are going to be like, see, this is why we shouldn't have expanded it. This is boring ass shit. I don't want to watch 100-3 blowout.
Now,
I don't know if I could agree with that.
I would, because what if I took the plus 102?
well,
well, if you want to go that route, have a bottom tier tournament, right? Have the bottom 4 teams ranked in the NCAA Division 1, the top 4 teams in Division 2, and then have them play to see who can go up, and then who can go down. That would be something that would be interesting, just because I think
a relegation type thing.
Yeah, just because like I think a North Dakota State, back when they were a prime, they could definitely beat a
It kind of goes to my
Ball
NFL
State
theory.
or
I've always said they
Mercer.
should play the Super Bowl, and the week before the Super Bowl, they should play the Toilet Bowl instead of the AFC versus NFC. Because if you play the 2 worst teams and the winner gets the number 1 pick, I think that would be great. I'd love to see the Jaguars go up against the Lions with a chance for who gets the number 1 pick.
How would that would be dumb.
No player is going to for free put their body on the line when they've already had a terrible year and they've got a contract on the line. Go out and potentially change their team's pick from 2 to 1.
They go out there to try to win, and then they get replaced by the number 1 pick that they just helped win.
Yeah, or that. Yeah, literally, you have a quarterback who's terrible. There's only one good quarterback who's the number 1 pick, and then and the number 1 and the quarterback for the worst team is out there purposely throwing like pick sixes left and right. Like, I don't know, guys. I guess we get the 2 pick. Damn.
That would be so messed up. Jeez. All right, guys.
It'd still be more fun than the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, well, that's
I would rather
a joke
watch.
within itself.
I would rather watch the skills challenge myself. Than
Yeah,
the Pro
man.
Bowl.
I still watch that. I watched some of that stuff on ESPN Ocho. That stuff was great.
Yeah, it is.
By the way,
crazy.
Soup, the Blackhawks have just taken the Capitals to overtime, tied at 3.
Nice, good. Did you see the stat on Ovechkin? How many goals he's had?
insane.
He's had almost more than twice than anyone else in his career than Crosby, and he has 4 times as much hits as Crosby. We'll never see a player like him in this generation again.
How about him on Friday night getting hit in the face with the puck, and then on Saturday going out and scoring a hat trick?
Yep, that just we are. It's so funny because people know that as much as you and I battled about it in the past, Wayne Gretzky is by and far the greatest hockey player ever. But we saw Mario Lemieux. We saw all these great players growing up. And then there was kind of like a dull period. And then it was more about finesse and style and the Sidney Crosby type of stuff. And Ovechkin's out here playing like Bobby Hull, just going out like getting punched right in the teeth and hitting people back 3 times as hard. And by the way, I just scored 4 times and I kissed your mom and girlfriend out in the stands. So,
Soup, did you hear what Buck and Wayne G said earlier? They said
no. Wayne G said it. Don't be putting words in my mouth.
Hockey. Oh, you said it too. Don't lie. Don't lie. He said, "What's the difference between soccer players and hockey players? Soccer players don't have vaginas."
oh my God,
I wanted to kill him.
You know how good
Wayne
hockey
said
players
that.
are? The NHL, there was a ref in a game from yesterday or the day before for the Bruins. He was a ref, broke his leg, and skated around until he finally had to go out during the break. Even the refs are built tougher than any other sport. Get out of here with that bull crap.
Soccer player gets missed by 3 feet on a tackle, and he lays there holding his leg for 10 minutes, gets carried off by a stretcher.
And then he helps him carry the stretcher because they keep dropping him. Did you guys ever see that one?
Yeah, I've seen that one. Yeah.
All right, guys, that's going to be it for the week here on the Man Hour. We'll catch you guys next Sunday with some spilled soup, with some Luke G, some Kevo, some Combs will be gone Monday, but Sunday you'll be here, Combs, right?
Yeah, I'll be here Sunday. Soup, you coming with me?
Sunday? Yeah, I'm on Sunday. And why aren't we doing a watch party Monday for Bills Patriots? Come on, guys.
Hey, I'd be down. I've got Aubrey's volleyball game at 6, so I'll be home by halftime.
Wait, how long's a volleyball game?
Well, if it's anything like last week, I mean, they beat them 25-2 and 25-4. We were out of there by 6:30, so it was like watching Alabama versus Mercer.
I love that little slide into like giving your kids prop for just kicking the shit out of the
Yeah,
other team.
and-
Like,
yeah.
by
and
the way,
again,
this is how good my girl is.
Let me slide in there one more time before we get out of there. Happy birthday, Ryan James. 6 years old, man. Time flies by.
All right, guys. We'll catch you.